Salute comrades, so welcome to this little guide on Master of Command. It's a game that's been released recently and I enjoyed it a lot. I've been playing demo, now I'm playing the full version, and of course as soon as the full version arrived I started playing Russian Empire, and I was quite confused with the army, or what to do with it, or how to build it. So I decided, so I've played a little bit on easier difficulty and reached some point, and I think for the beginners I will say about the Russian army composition and what to do with it. So let me show it. It's my first campaign, again on easier difficulty, so don't be confused with that. And so here's the army composition. It's not the best one, but it will, like I accumulated it like intuitively. I've like lost some unit, I gained some unit, but I think I have a pretty decent idea of what to do with it, and what's the benefits and like downsides of Russian army. So the major confusion point for me was actually when I just started, and when I saw like something like this for my first recruits. I was quite confused and thought that Russia do not have that many units in its roster, but actually it's false, because Russia I think has the biggest number of basic recruit type out of all nations, because it have five basic recruits, and like the later on units are upgraded from this 5 type of recruits. So I will deal it one by one. So again, I already showed you, like for your first campaign, for your first army, you start with this type of serf recruits, and this it gives you only infantry. Yeah, it's like basically serfs are peasants who are recruited to the Tsar army or emperor army, and they are out of all nations, they are out of all recruits, they are pretty decent in the melee combat, but like have really terrible shooting accuracy, reload time. So this for Russian army, these green coats are melee guys. So it's better to use these items and like these musicians and weapons and bayonets to buff their melee side. Yeah, so basically it's actually in the Russian tradition. It's in I think it was Suvorov who told that the bayonet is much better in the battle than the bullet, and it's like a perfect example here. So basically you can like the best type of this green coat guys are grenadiers, because they have pretty decent melee stats, and they have bigger number, and one of the benefits of Russia is a slightly bigger number than other nations, and that means bigger like hit points. They hold better, they take the punch better, and of course, yeah, they are decent in melee as combat, especially if you buff it with some items, and pretty much from these green coats I like to go to grenadiers, not to veteran musketeers. And how I use them is just make them stand and allow the other parts to approach, and when they start shooting, if they start shooting with like their troops that are focused on shooting, yes, on the range combat, then just charge them, and usually Russian grenadiers easily break the targets and just move forward. And after that you can use your cavalry to get to the bridge to destroy the cannons and stuff. So quite nice. So if you don't quite like melee combat, that's fine. Russia have this redcoat guys or observation recruits. So these guys are focused on more focused on range combat. Of course, for other nations, there are troops that are better in range combat. But again, like if you prefer range combat and observations, observation branch of recruits is your guys. And of course, you can go up to observation fusiliers. Don't go for grenadiers. Like green coat grenadiers are much better than red coat grenadiers. They like red coats are more like they are more average. You know, they are not as good in melee combat. They are slightly better in range combat. But you know, it's better to have your focused infantry. So you buff them, for instance, in melee combat and use them in melee combat. So don't be like buffing them in melee, and then just make them stand, eat bullets, and trying to shoot other guys. It's won't work. So again, if you have green coats grenadiers, just wait for guys to approach. Maybe throw grenades, maybe do one volley because like they are already loaded. But then go straight for the charge. Usually it works like magic, especially if you have both grenades that you can throw before the charge and buckshot rounds. So you can like it can be done like in sequence. Throw grenades, then buckshot rounds, then charge. You know, like it's not a lot of infantry that can survive after that. And for redcoats, it's much more boring, just standing, shooting, you know, and trying to maneuver and stuff. And redcoats also have the artillery branch, and actually it's not the only artillery in the game by Russia, of course. Like I have this small brigades only out of artillery, and let's talk about artillery. So they have like this artillery recruits that can go up to Russian field artillery. Russia do not have, unfortunately, the artillery on horses, so it's like very slow. You know, the maximum you can have is a move speed of 15, and that's actually quite enough to get to some hill, to get a good position on this hill before enemy approach, and then pound them with your artillery, and you know, like take out their most important units or just damage them. And actually, if we compare observation field artillery from the observation branch and like this seemingly more specialized Russian field artillery, like even if you get it to the maximum, you know, I don't see that much of a difference. You know, you can see it here. You know, it's pretty much an accuracy and reload speed are more depend on the items you have rather than the type of it. So I don't know. So it's maybe it's enough to have not these guys, not specialized artillery, but just observation artillery. No, but the most important part here is to get a good gun. So in here in this run, I didn't pay attention to what kind of guns they have, and I didn't buy them, although I had pretty decent opportunities to get a big gun. And it's very regretful, because like here one of the best investments that you can have is to buy a decent cannon for your artillery. Because for example here, you see, let's see, here's the range of the, like, it's not the best, far from being the best, like an average cannon, iron 12 lb pound, I don't know, Le Cornet, I don't know, sorry, but the thing is, it have the basic range of 400, with the upgrades it have a range of 630, and like this guy with a poor cannon, like 6-pound howitzers are not the best type of in this game. They give you the stronger punch, but the range is decreased for some reason, and it's actually terrible. Like for artillery, range is very important. because you know it's one of the worst thing for your artillery is to like being stuck and not being able to reach anyone, you know, while the big guys exchange the blows already, and then this small howitzer just waiting for some target to appear. So actually in this run, well, my next goal is to save up money and buy some decent cannon for everyone. And I could do it before, but you know, for some reason I didn't. Yeah, and very important. So cannons for artillery is much more important than what type of guys are in charge of it. Actually, also one small thing is the number of like the regiment size like influence how many cannons will you have. So each 25 guys will man one cannon. So for instance, here in Russian artillery recruits you have only 100 guys, that means only 4 cannons. In Russian field artillery it's 150 guys, it means 6 cannons. And actually in observation field artillery, from the very beginning you have 150 guys, that means 6 cannons as well. And there are some artillery that can have up to 200 guys per regiment, so that means 8 cannons. But their stats are worse, so I don't know, maybe it's not the best exchange. But here, yeah, very important. So again, from how I see it, maybe it's even better to have observation field artillery out of the observation recruits guys. And it has really nice stats, especially if you buff it with items. You won't see the difference, and you don't need to upgrade them. So for instance, here I have already the maximum. Level 9 guy, I think it's maximum, yeah. So it did do really good on the battlefield, although it has crappy cannon. Then what else? Let's go back to the infantry for a short bit. There are also another one type of musketeers is Pandur musketeers. It's not even a musketeer, but I say it's some kind of Jaeger, so it's a light infantry that moves around, like shoots very decently. It's from the frontier type of recruits. Basically, you go. It's better to use them to go to the Cossacks, but here, like I was given this Pandur musketeers as a bonus for the mission, for some mission, so I have them, and I say they are quite useful, you know, although they have a small regiment size of only 600, which so don't put them on the front line. They don't expect much from them, like shooting face to face with another regiment, like one-on-one. But and of course don't expect them to hold like cavalry charge. For instance, cavalry here is, we will talk about it a bit later, but it's a nice thing to get a like quick blow, but they don't have a lot of hit points, a lot of men in their regiments. So usually they can be used once or twice, and that's it. And of course they on a weak target, because if you send even your heaviest cavalry in front of the grenadier, especially if the grenadier will have a one shot before they charge, then like your cavalry will be just wiped out. It will not do the job. It's not medieval total war or something where you can just push the front line by your heavier horsemen. Now here, like it's very fragile. Cavalry is very fragile. Like these Pandur musketeers are fragile as well, and they will not hold the cavalry charge. But their most important bonus is they have really good move speed. Like, for foot soldiers, one of the best, and that's really important here, because you know, in this game, like unlike in Total War games, the infantry moves really slowly. So even if you have, for instance, grenadier, like your elite grenadiers who like on the flank, won the like decisively won the battle against some, I don't know, some maybe like shooting musketeers, and you won, like they retreat, and okay, you can use them, but you know they will not get in time anywhere, you know, because they move slowly. If you tell them to run, they will run for, I don't know, 1 minute, and they will get tired, and you know will move even slower. And basically many times like you have your elite infantry that won like their part of the battle, and then they just don't have time to participate anywhere else. And these Pandur musketeers, because they move quite quickly, they can be used to maneuver around and like to help on one part of the battlefield, then help on the other part of the battlefield. So they are not as fragile as cavalry, and they can shoot, like really they can shoot, they can help. So it's useful to have not too many, but I don't know, 2 maybe Pandur musketeers on the flanks, or like in a reserve, because they really can maneuver with them. And in battle, it's really like there's 2 important parts: it's maneuver with your troops and maneuver with your fire. And the maneuver with your fire is again artillery part, because they can shoot one way, they can shoot the other way, that they can shoot cavalry, then they can shoot, for instance, back shots to in front of them, and it's really helpful. So they can help on different parts of battles. But the grenadiers, for instance, even if they win the small battle on the flanks, they maybe just not be in time to help somewhere else. And yeah, so these Pandur musketeers, again, it's cool to have them. I didn't like them when I first saw them, when I got them, but actually they can be pretty useful if you don't forget about them. That's it. And then the cavalry part, and Russia actually have one of the most useful cavalry in the game. Is a Cossack cavalry. And again, I've been talking about the maneuver. They have one of the best speed in the game. Like this Slobodan Kazakhs have 75 move speed. That means they with bonuses it can be even more. So I think I buffed up to 85. Yeah, this one is 81. So they actually can move around. They can like outflank. They can go from behind. Like really helpful. Although they are not the strongest cavalry in the game, and they will not win the battles against like cuirassiers or maybe even some hussars, but again, because they are so quick, they can choose whether they want to fight this cavalry or not, or they will wait, or they can like draw forces, you know, because they can stay in some force on the flank, and the enemy will decide, oh no, I will send someone to them, and like this one unit can can draw attention from 2 or 3 even regiments from the enemy, and being the constant threat, and it can not even engage in battle, but still take out this 2 or 3 regiments, because just it's a threat. And of course, when there is a free pass, they can go on behind and can like destroy all the artillery, and very useful. Although do not expect them to win a lot of melee combats with a decent enemy. And I gave them like these carbines, but you know, I regret it, because their shooting stats are not that great, and sometimes because of they do not they like, you know, hesitate on shooting, maybe because of the game mechanics and stuff. Sometimes they lose the opportunity to charge because they do not give the shot before the charge. So sometimes I do not like. My idea with these Cossacks was to give them carbines and give them buckshot. So like it works once or twice. It was devastating, you know, like taking shots from Cossacks, like like in their face. But other than that, like it was not a very best experience. And if you want like shooting cavalry, here are dragoons. Like it's very good. Again, hussars I didn't like. I didn't like hussars. They are slow and they are not that good in combat, and the numbers are limited. So I actually don't see use for them. But this branch of another type of Russian recruits, the Russian rider recruits, it's heavy cavalry. It's focused on being very slow, like command, like move speed of 35. It's very slow. It's again a Pandur musketeer move with the same speed. Then it's a bit higher of 40, 45, but it's nowhere near to Cossacks who have like 70, 75 move speed. So basically, like this heavy cavalry can be used only in defense, and it can be used actually. Like I see AI use it a lot to defend cannons from my Cossacks, and actually I hesitate to send Cossacks because of the heavy cavalry waiting around and ready to defend it. But still, it's not nearly as good to send it to flank your opponent or something like that. And the thing I see in the heavy cavalry is to wait when your, for instance, grenadier make a dent in the front and then send very slowly, because again moving speed is not that great, slowly send them to take out the cannons in this gap. But again, they are very slow. Maybe for defense they can be used, but again many times they just eat bullets and even cannonballs and still retreat, although they have some higher regiment size, higher hit points, so they can they can hold the ground, they can do really good, but again they not nearly as maneuverable as Cossacks. So again, just keep them either on the flanks for defense or on the front to get to the breach. But other than that, I don't know. I don't quite like this slow cavalry. And again, like in this game, I think twice before upgrading, because for instance, this Russian dragoons, there is no straight upgrade of it. So you see, they have a higher accuracy and reload speed, so they can shoot from the horseback. But both cuirassiers and the horse grenadiers, they have terrible shooting stats. Terrible. Like Russian cavalry in general, other than these dragoons, have terrible shooting stats. So even this Slobodan Cossacks, they have 10 and 15 of accuracy and reload. It's terrible. They don't do much damage with their shots. So like Russian dragoons are only Russian cavalry that can shoot, and upgrading it sometimes will hurt your strategy. So just take a note. Okay, and if we look at the army in general, how I see it is, it's really decent. It's an all-rounder, and it lacks maneuverability other than the Cossacks. And usually it's better to hold it in one piece and use a lot of your cannons to make your opponent come to you, and then just react on its moves. And you know, it's how I see it. It's in this game. It's like a game of chess. So you let your opponents do their move. You react on their move. You just move around, maneuver, like shoot use cannons to shoot their most important assets and stuff. And you know, sometimes I like decided, for instance, oh, I have good grenadiers, I will just charge them make a dent in the front and use my cavalry to destroy cannons. And you know, when you forcefully implement such plans without taking into account what the opponent's doing, so it ends up in disaster. So basically, when I use that, I managed to win the battle, but actually I suffered a lot of losses, because when I was charging, of course everyone shot at these grenadiers. They have terrible losses, and you know, another thing that I want to recommend you is to take a note of moving speed of your regiments, because sometimes, for instance, here observation to the rear have the moving speed of 16, yeah, because of some not perfect items, you know, like this item. I don't like it actually. I forget why I put it here, because it ammo consumption is not that terrible, but the decrease in the moving speed is actually like really bad. So basically, what can happen is you can send your infantry to combat, and for instance, two of them have a good moving speed, and one of them have like terrible moving speed, and the one will be lagging behind, the other two will go to the front, and then cannons will start shooting the quick regiment that will be obliterated, and then the infantry, your enemy infantry, will come and start shooting it. It will retreat, and meanwhile the slow regiment will slowly approach, and then it have to deal not with one enemy regiment, but with two or sometimes even three. So it's also one thing to keep in mind, and because of that I don't like sending my infantry too much forward, because it will break the formation many times. And again, what I like is to have a strong front line in front of my cannons, basically from these shooting guys, and have grenadiers on the flank, because grenadiers, again, they are good in melee combat, and they can like hold cavalry, and they can destroy in a melee combat like almost anyone, especially if they use grenade and buckshot rounds. Like, it's almost unstoppable. And again, use Cossacks to outflank and try to get to the behind, and use like this heavy but slow cavalry near the front, either to get to the breach and destroy cannons, or just defend and help in the critical situation. Okay, so that's my basic advices. Again, it's more for beginners. I didn't try like the hardest difficulty yet, but I will. And I hope it was helpful. Again, Russia have a huge roster, but like these recruits, like 5 types of recruits, make it rather confusing. And I hope you like this game as well. I hope you enjoy it. But for today, that's it. Okay, guys, thank you, and comrades, you are dismissed.